Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I'll be showing you how to perform square roots without a calculator. There are many different ways you can do it, but how I'm going to solve it, I'm going to use a number line. So here I'm gonna make a quick number line. So alright, and so let's start off with the first square root number. So let's say, for example, I want to figure out the square root of 9. To figure out the square root of 9, you have to find two numbers that when you multiply each other, it'll equal 9. So, and two same numbers that equal 9 is 3. So, to self check, and like you can reverse this by finding what 3 squared is, which equals 9. And the reason why 3 squared is because this 2 exponent represents how many 3's have to go into that number to the number which will equal 9. And since you have to multiply 3 2 times, that equals 9. That's like a self check that square root of 9 does indeed equal 3. So this is where the square root of 9 will be going. So right here. Okay, and now the next number. So I'll just name a first one. And so that was pretty easy. Now let's say, for example, number 2. Let's say, for example, we have a square root of, let's say the square root of 20. Okay, finding out square root of 20. Now, obviously, this number is definitely not going to be a whole number. More tough to find out what the square root of 20 is going to be. So here's what I do to find this out. So obviously I know I'm gonna find two numbers that are like just below 20, just below square root of 20, and the one that is like higher than square root of 20, that are perfect squares. So one example I know is the square root of 16, which is equal to 4, and the square root of 25, which is equal to 5. So I know, and since 20 is in between the square root of 16 and square root of 25, I know the square root of 20 is going to be in between 4 and 5. Now to figure out exactly where it is going to be, I know that from 25 and 16, I'll do up here. So 25 and 16. If I were to subtract these two numbers, I would get 9. Because 5 subtract 6, since you can't subtract 6, you can, at the 15 subtract 6 is going to be 9. And then you cancel this 1 minus 1 is 0, so 9 will be the answer. So the difference between 25 and 16 is 9, and from there, and since it's 9, that means that it's closer to 10. So whatever answer you're going to, or whatever decimal place is going to be, it'll be accurate with what you're trying to find. So what I mean by that is, since 20 is 4 above 16 and 5 below 25, that means that 20 is going to be closer to 4, and it just barely on the other side, on 4's side. So I'm gonna add an extra line here. This is going to represent 4.5, and this square root of 20 is going to be inside this area, and it is going, and since it is just barely um on the square root of 16 side, it is going to be pretty much right here. So I'm gonna put square root of 20 like right here. And in decimal form is around 4 point, I see like 4.4. And you can check the calculator to determine that. And so, and since obviously the answer is 9, is going since the difference is here is 9, this 4.4 is going to be more accurate on the calculator. So it will be most likely 4.4, and you can check it on the calculator. Okay, so for our third one, let's say we have example the square root of 80. Let's see what the square root of 80. Well, I know that the square root of 80, there are two perfect squares that two square roots that equal a perfect square number, and those two square roots are square root of 64 and square root of 81. And square root of 64 is equal to 8, and square root of 81 is equal to 9. So that and since 80 is in between that, it'll be in between 8 and 9. And taking the difference between 81 and 64, we get 11 minus 4 is 7, and 17. The answer, the decimal value won't be very accurate, but we know that since 80 is really close to 81, that means that it's going to most likely be at least above 8.9. So obviously, I'm going to put square root of 80 like pretty much right here, and I would say it's going to be around 8.96. That's going to be what I'm going to estimate. It's for sure above 8.9. That's what I'm for sure. It's for sure above 8.9. That's what I'm for sure. It's above 8.9. And now for the last one, let's say for example we have the square root of 74. Actually, no, not square root of 74. Let's say for example, say square root of 94. Let's do square root of 94. Alright, so I know that 94, in between square root of 94, square root of 81, that's equal to 9, and square root of 94, square root of 81, that's equal to 9, and square root of 100 is equal to 10. Now, obviously, it's going to be in between 9 and 10, so I'll add the square root of 10 right here. So 100 minus 81 is going to equal 19. So again, not going to be very accurate, but 94, if 81, if you add 13, you get 94. 94 adding 6 is 100. That means 94 is definitely closer to 100. So that means that it's definitely above 9.5. Now, how much above? I would say since it is like closer to 100, since it's 13 away from 13 ahead of 9, but it's 6 short of 100. that means I would say that if the halfway point is I'd say is like around um around 9, right? And since is the halfway point between 81 and 100 is like around 90, right? And since it's 94, I would say it's around 9 point. I say it's around. I say it's around 9.7. I would give the estimate of square root of 94 as 9.7. So around right here, square root of 94 would be 9.7. And so I'll check the calculator and I'll see if I actually got um these three correct. Okay, for square root of 20 is 4.47. So I rounding it up will be 4.5, but I was right that it was around 4.4. So I was close to the actual answer. For square root of 80 is 8.94. So this one, I was more accurate. I was 2/10 away. So I was accurate. So like I was more accurate with a square root of I was more accurate with a square root of 80. And then for our final one, and this one this one is most accurate since this rounding it up would be 9.7. So this one I'd say I was probably the most right, but if you're rounding it up, this one I was even more accurate. I was one away from 9.7. And yeah, this is how you performing square roots without a calculator using the number line rule. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.